My name is Michele Mitcalfe and I'm living in the far north of New Zealand and have been here where I live approximately 23 years. Towards the end of 2017 I had a couple of Swiss people staying with me and we were awoken quite early by helicopter, and when I came out to have a look, there was spraying going on the hill over there on the cliffside, and I just felt really gutted actually seeing that, because I just love where I live and it's just been a safe haven for myself and my family. Actually went out in a canoe and took a few photos of what was going on out there. But before that I was in my chicken yard and I was looking out at the lake where they were doing the spraying, and I could feel like a tingly sensation on my lips, and it was like the poison, even though it wasn't windy at that time, just tiny little vapor had managed to make it across the side of the lake. Anyway, after that, going out in the canoe, I went back up to the house and I talked to my Swiss visitors, and we were all in shock really, and I just started to find out more information about what sprays were used from regional council, and the sprays that were used were glyphosate, Tordon and Metron. Also got a hold of Doc because it looked like the spray was crossing over into the lake verges, the lake area, and apparently they did come and check and had been told the neighbour that the spraying happened on their property. She came in and saw me and said that Doc had said that it was all okay, but I didn't actually hear from Doc myself. I appreciate the fact that my neighbour also told me that if they ever decided to spray again, that they would notify me, even though legally they don't have to, because the distance between neighbouring properties that need to be notified is like 100 metres, or it was then. I don't know if it's changed now. So they legally didn't have to let me know that they were going to be spraying. Yeah, and I appreciated her at least making an effort to come in and see me, and she also said that they would endeavour not to do that sort of spraying again, which I very much appreciate. A few days later, I started to feel really, really sick, and I felt like my body was lead weight. I felt so sick and no energy. Actually, I felt like I was going to die. A friend of mine said, "You gotta go to the doctors," and I did. And then when I went to the doctor, they said that I had pneumonia, so that was treatable and that was okay. And it wasn't long after that I'd gone into a local paint shop and heard that there were other people that had spoken to the retailer about contracting pneumonia around about the same time as I had it in this general area. This was something I asked the doctor about when I'd gone in there too, and he didn't know anything about that. He didn't want to place comment. I think it would be a really good idea in the future to have some sort of register where people can let people know if they've contracted some sort of bug or infection after a spray event or poison event that's happened near them. I found out just recently that there actually is a thing called chemical pneumonia. I didn't know that at the time, but that pneumonia can be contracted through chemical poisoning. From that happening, the security of living where I live doesn't feel so secure. I really love where I live, and I'll do my damnedest to look after it. That's with anybody using poisons or the technological advances that are getting rolled out into our country at the moment. 5G. That's all I think. So I mentioned that I had a couple staying with me from Switzerland. They actually now live in Kaitaia. One of them helped me put a letter together to our local newspaper, the Northland Age, and I remember not being well. It took a lot of energy to do all the research that I was doing and putting a letter together. And so that went in the paper December 2017. And I can appreciate how a lot of stories don't come to the fore or get printed, because at the time of an incident happening like that, and your energy levels are so down and you're feeling so sick, I can understand how people just don't do anything about it. They've got enough to contend with in their day-to-day lives as it is, without taking on board this extra research and time to get the story out. My neighbour came in and visited me at my shop, which was really good, and just let me know her stand on it. That generally, because I have a business in Kaitaia, a lot of people know me and they know where I live, and generally they care about me, so that all helps in a small community.
Did Doc give you any support?
No. Doc didn't approach me with anything. It was my neighbour that told me that Doc said it was all okay. Yeah. The evening before the spray poisoning from the helicopter, Paparori School had a sleepover for the children. So teachers and children were actually at the school. Yeah.
Was the school near to where it was sprayed?
On the other side, yeah, of those hills there. Yep.
So it was in the spray zone, was it?
Yeah, apparently it crossed over the boundary, but yeah, I'm not sure about that side. I can only say for this side.
Do you feel anything today after all this? You know, like you had pneumonia and you took antibiotics. What about today? Do you get any flashbacks? Did you feel it could be?
I always know and have a underlying thankfulness of where I live, and an awareness that it's not safe. It's not, you can never take for granted that where you live is going to be safe after something like that happening. You know, like I just had visitors and they said, oh, that hill would be a nice site for a cell tower, Michelle. And I go, yeah, I'm aware of that. It's just like 5G cell tower up on the hill. Yeah, so, yeah, just if you don't want something to happen, you've got to be proactive. And you got to learn about it, be aware, and just try and make some noise and get people that care about that same situation on board with you to actually start a movement that can turn things around and make a difference. And I think it takes real things like this to create passion in people to want to make the difference that's needed. I'd really like to see an end to all helicopter drops of 1080 and poisons. I think there's room to have responsible use of poisons, but I just do not think that is responsible at all. Poisons don't just affect what their target is, it affects further parts of the ecosystem and our environment. I think, like you'll have other people that can use their experiences as far as like 1080 goes, because I'm not right in the firing line, but I still really care. And I originally came from Christchurch, so we used to travel through the Alpine area and see the kia, and I love the kia, and that just sort of broke my heart really, how 1080 has been impacting them and how humans have impacted them before 1080. And it's not just the kia, of course, but that was just a memory from when I was a kid. I have lots of visitors that stay with me from overseas, and they all can see once they've stayed with me, and they get a bit of the lowdown on what is going on in our country. It's not clean and green, sorry to say.
And how do you feel about that?
Really sad. Really sad that can't even guarantee that our bush is going to be okay, what we have got left, because all the poison that continues to be dumped on it. I used to always vote for the Greens. Well, I won't be voting for them anymore, ever. Yeah, that's shocking that they're all okay with 1080. And nobody's making any noise in the camp about 5G. Hey, and even Greenpeace, nothing. Where are you guys? Same thing, I've withdrawn all funding that I used to give to Greenpeace, and I let them know why. Even though I know they do still do some great things, I just wanted to try and make a point. Regional council funding, they helped me to plant around the lake area where we live, and Hopperori School helped with a lot of planting too, so to replant natives in the area, because there's just not much around anymore, around the Dune Lakes. But no, it's good that the school, a lot of schools have been on board to help with replanting natives, and you can definitely see a difference with how it's brought wildlife back, lots of birds. The manuka here would have been planted by me about 20 or so years ago, or probably school kids as well that helped here, and teachers. And these are all babies that have come from this tree. So I just made sure that I mowed around them, and they've been able to settle where they wanted to go, which I think is great.